Hello City Life family. Today I'm going to talk to us about angels and hearing God and experiencing God through angels. And some of the City Life family have already said some of their thoughts about angels and some of their experience of angels, and you can find that on the app and listen to people's accounts of things. It's all very exciting and interesting. There's lots of different thoughts, so do listen to that. But I'm going to try and give us a few facts today and a few stories that I know. And I hope that we will be excited to press into God and ask him about angels again, because I think it's a long time since we've thought about them. Maybe it's because it's a bit out of sight, out of mind, but we can just forget that they're there to really help us and to help others if we will pray and ask God to release them. So really hoping today that we can think again afresh and really press into God to discern angels for ourselves and to ask him to release them in different situations that we know about. So first of all, a few little facts. Fact number 1, angels were created by God to mainly serve in the heavens, just as humans were created by God mainly to serve on the earth and to look after it. Fact number 2, angels are mainly spiritual beings, often invisible to us, but they can take on human form if they need to. And sometimes God uses angels to help people when no one else is around to help them. And sometimes then they definitely appear as humans. I know of a story of a lady who was going to be hurt by someone, and 2 big men suddenly appeared. And they were obviously angels, but they came in human form. They're very big men, and they told the person to stop. And they were so terrified they did stop. They obeyed them immediately. So some people feel the presence of angels. Some people see them with their natural eyes. I've been told I'm going to see them with my natural eyes, but I haven't yet, and I can't wait. So if you've seen them with your natural eyes, you're very, very fortunate. I hope I'll do the same. Fact number 3, angels have leaders over them. Like in an army, you have generals over soldiers. Archangels are the leaders over the angels. And so the Bible mentions 3 archangels. Michael is the first one it mentions, and he's a warrior angel. He is the leader, like the general, over heaven's armies, angel armies. And so he's very much involved in protecting people and fighting off the enemy in heavenly realms. And then it mentions Gabriel, and Gabriel seems to stand in the presence of God and hear his messages and take them to people. So Gabriel was the one who visited Mary and told her she'd be having Jesus. And angels are there to bring messages, to comfort, to protect. And we see lots of accounts of them, particularly in the Old Testament, before we had the Holy Spirit to hear God ourselves. Fact number 4, angels are still very much around to help us, as those 2 stories show us. For instance, a really amazing thing is that we can take on board and say to God and talk to him about it, is that he has said that every child of his has a guardian angel. It says so in Matthew 18:10. So every child in City Life has a guardian angel, and it's very important to remember that, because that angel goes with them to school, goes with them everywhere they go and looks out for them. And so in some ways it's a very great comfort to both parents and to the child to know they've got a guardian angel. And you might want to ask what the name of your guardian angel is and where he or she likes to be and how they help you, and God will give you those answers as you ask him about them. So ask the Holy Spirit and write down the first things that you see or hear or think or feel, or draw a picture or whatever. It could be very exciting doing that. So another thing that angels do, besides caring for children, there's lots of things they do actually that you can look up in the Bible, but I'm only doing 1 or 2 of them. But another amazing thing they do is they lead people who don't yet know Jesus to people like us who do, so that we can give those people the good news of Jesus' love and care for them. So there could be angels this week looking to bring people who don't know Jesus to us. So we could ask God to do that, to send angels to bring people to us who need to know about Jesus. And maybe we can just show the love of God to someone this week because an angel has led them to us. So do pray about that. Do ask God for that. There's angels that do that, just as you can read about that happening in the story in Acts 10:3. Have a look at that one and you'll see it for yourselves. Now, to tell you a few stories. God told me one Christmas time that he was going to ask his angels to beat their wings and send us feathers of faith, to encourage us and increase our faith, because he wanted to move more supernaturally. He wanted to do more impossible things through us, and he wanted us to be ready and prepared and in faith and saying yes to the opportunities he gave us. And it was winter time and there was no feathers around from birds any longer, nothing in the air that way at all. And so we started to see these feathers where we didn't expect them. And I remember one particular time when I was praying in the bath, where I used to pray a lot, and speaking to God about building a heavenly garden with him that would have all sorts of things in it that we chose together, and it would be there when I saw it later in heaven. And I came out of the bath and went into the bedroom. There on my bed was this amazing little white feather right in the very middle of the bed, on top of the duvet, which wasn't a feather duvet. And there it stood. And I just felt God say, you just believe, you believe my words. So that was my little experience of feathers of faith, that the angels were beating their wings and sending us feathers. Another time, Rosie had a vision of an angel called Storm, an angel dressed in white, holding a sword, a flaming sword. The hands and the sword were just all with flames around them, and the angel was there to bring God's words and his truth into storms and disturbances. And because a storm is a disturbance and it's disruption to normal circumstances, and this angel called Storm was there to bring truth in the midst of storms. Now, this word was received probably about 7 years ago, but it feels that we maybe need to call upon this angel again for city life as we go through things that aren't normal for us. We have a new normal that we're forming, and it's a time of disturbance and disruption and difficulty, but also the world, isn't it, is in a lot of change and a lot of disruption and disturbance. So we really do need to ask God's angels to help us, and we can ask for Storm's help for us. And the sword was gold, she said, because it represented God's words of purity, strength and quality. And it's God's words that see us through these times. Another time I was praying for 2 families in the church that were trying to have children, and they were finding it really hard. And one family particularly wondered if they'd ever have children. And yet, when I prayed for them, I saw in my imagination angels making up baby baskets for these 2 families. And so I just felt sure that they were going to have babies. And I told them, and I think other people started to, really continue to pray for them as they had been for a long time. And both these families conceived, and they've now got 2 children each, and that's the Stephens and the Witchers, so you can ask them about that story if you want to. And then Abby Rowlands had an experience of an angel, and an angel protecting her, and their house had been burgled one time, and she found herself afraid to be alone in her bedroom playing or writing or reading, and just this fear coming upon her after they'd had this horrible thing happen to them. And so this is what she wrote. When I was afraid after we got burgled, God gave me a picture of an angel, which I painted and still have now. I know God is with me, and his angels will always be there around me. I was scared to play on my own in my room, but I became aware of his angels. And so obviously her fear went. So that's a really good news story, isn't it? And I'm going to finish with her poem that she wrote recently, because it's got lots about angels in it. So Abby's someone, if you want to talk about angels, she's a good person to talk to, because she sees them, she knows about them, and she's written some wonderful things about them. And she's written this word for us. When she looked at the bones, the Valley of the Bones story, the Lectio Divina that we did last month, a word stood out to her, and she wrote a poem about it. And this is the poem, and I leave it with you because it's a current word for us as a church, something we can expect for. She wrote, "Angels sing their cry of praise, proclaim his glory throughout the land, for God is with us, he is for us. When fear grabs hold of you, when you are drained from independence, God sends his angels cascading from his kingdom. They fill your souls with courage. He has renewed us once more, lifted us to higher ground where his angels light the path, where his angels guide the way. He is the one who loves us. He brought us back to life, to rise on angels' wings, to rise upon his glory." I couldn't put it better myself. And if mums and dads want to listen to or other adults want to listen to Patricia King's teaching in the Glory School, we have that, and it's got lots more information about angels. So that might be something you want to look up to. And then we've got some grow activities you can do together. You can share the angel stories that you've got. You can ask the Holy Spirit to let you know if there's angels around you, or what your guardian angel is called and what they're about. And you can draw what he shows you. I'd love to see some pictures of some people's guardian angels, or you can try drawing storm angel. Ask God to show you that angel. And maybe pray together and send some angels to people that you know really need their encouragement at this time. And also ask and pray that God brings people, lets his angels bring people to us so that we can tell them the good news of Jesus, because there's nothing better than doing that either. So I leave this with you to think about and to put into action, and I'd love to hear how it goes for you. And so every blessing, let's go after angels. Let's ask God to help us see them, know them, experience them, and ask him to send them in places where they can really do some good. Okay, blessings.